Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Emily and today we're going to talk about why the comment "you don't look sick" is actually not the best thing to say to someone with a disability and what you should say instead. So when people say "you don't look sick," they don't mean it to be offensive, and I think what they mean by it is like, "Oh, you look really good." But like, here's the thing. I am sick. This is what I look like when I am sick. Today I'm wearing makeup, and so probably you couldn't tell that I was feeling like crap, or that I wanted to saw my right leg off because of joint pain, or that I woke up and was really nauseous, or that I feel like I haven't slept in like 5 days because chronic fatigue. You couldn't tell that. If I were not wearing makeup, then I would have dark circles under my eyes, but other than that, there is no visible indicator that I am a sick person or that I'm disabled. When I'm in my home, I do not use my cane. When I am out and about, I do use a cane, and so people can tell obviously that there's some reason I'm using that, although they will stare at me and never ask questions most of the time, or they will pull their children out of the way, which is not a fun experience. But you can tell that I have something obviously wrong with me, or that I have a disability when I'm in public and using a cane, but it kind of throws people because otherwise, if I were not using my cane, I would look like literally everybody else, and that's kind of the point. There's not a certain way disabled people look. Disabled people can look like anything. People who are undiagnosed with a chronic illness or who are really sick, you don't always know what that looks like, or that doesn't have a particular look. When I was really sick and undiagnosed, and I had lost a lot of weight, and I did look, really unwell, and I can look back now at pictures of myself during that time period, and I was very thin and paler than usual, actually, and I felt like crap, and I did not look that great. But if you didn't know me, then I don't think you would know necessarily that I was sick or that I had something going on. And again, that's kind of the point. Like, people with disabilities can look like literally anything because we are coming from all different classes, races, etc., gender, expressions, sexualities. Disability does not discriminate. It is the largest minority, in fact, and it can happen to anyone, and honestly, if you live long enough, it will happen to you. And that doesn't have to be something that is horrifying and scary, and I know that it is to a lot of people, and so I think that's sort of like why when they see someone who is like me and young and disabled, people are just like, oh my gosh, my mortality, I could be that. But like, my life's not that bad, y'all. Like, yeah, it sucks to have a disability, and if there were a cure for my conditions, I would take it like in a heartbeat. But, I live the best way that I can, and, I try to be as happy as I can and do things that I enjoy, so yeah, disability sucks, but I've learned a lot from my disability, and I really love the community of disabled people that I have encountered and, either met in person or online. So yeah, just saying to me or anyone else that you don't look sick can be frustrating because, again, I am disabled, and it can come across to people with a disability as if you're saying you don't believe them. And again, I know that's not generally people's intentions, although sometimes there will be people who think if you don't look like you're about to like fall over on the ground or just absolutely die, that you're not really disabled. And many of us with disabilities, especially if we have chronic conditions that are harder to diagnose, are super wary of comments like that because we've been told by actual doctors that, our conditions are all in our head or we're just anxious. And that's not fun, and we don't want to feel like we have to prove to strangers or friends or family that we're actually disabled. So whether or not that's your intention, I would suggest just not using that specific comment. if you want to compliment how someone looks, then be like, oh, you look, really nice today. Don't say they don't look disabled, because one, you can look nice and be disabled. Plot twist, I know, but it's a thing. And just because you look nice doesn't mean you feel great necessarily, but just because you don't feel great doesn't mean you're going to always limit yourself from doing things. It depends on the day for a lot of people, and you generally, if you can, like for me at least, I'm gonna do whatever I can to enjoy myself and live life regardless of how I feel. If I feel particularly miserable, then you're not gonna see me out. But I still am disabled, and my disability is affecting me every single second, every minute. So whether or not I look good, I'm still disabled. And again, the comment sort of implies that you can't look good when you have a disability, and that's kind of insulting, because we can look good. So some things you could say instead of that. If you want to compliment someone, like I said, then be like, oh wow, you look really great today. Don't, suggest that they can't look great and feel bad at the same time. Because we can and we do, we're just bosses like that. You can, compliment other aspects of them besides a person's looks, shockingly. So there's a myriad of things you can say. It depends on the person, but say you look really good, or I'm really glad you could come here tonight, or oh, it's so good to see you, da 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 da. Don't say that they don't look sick, basically. If you think someone looks good, tell them they look good. Don't say that they don't look disabled, though, because disability does not have a look. That is the message today. And a person will probably, as you get to know a person, you'll understand what is and is not appropriate, or what that particular person wants to be talking about in that moment. Like for me, you can ask me how I feel, and I would probably really appreciate if someone asked me how I feel when I was, for example, going out late at night. And for me, late at night is like past 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock is pajama time, y'all. But if you ask me how I'm doing when we're going out in the evening, I would really appreciate it, because more than likely I'm sitting here thinking I'm having a really good time, but also I'm so freaking tired. So I would appreciate someone just checking in a little, being like, hey, how are you doing? I would also be down with someone saying, I look really good, or you like my cane with my outfit choice, that they compliment each other, because they probably do. Or just, you don't have to mention the disability at all. That can sometimes be the best thing to say. Sometimes the best thing to say is nothing. Just, you don't need to bring up what a person looks like all the time in relation to their disability, because I promise you we hear it enough. So I'm not entirely sure if this was too helpful, but my overall point is that telling someone with a disability they don't look sick can be hurtful, and even if that's not your intention, which it probably isn't, there are other things you can say instead. So to recap, do not say you don't look sick. Disabled people look like themselves always. They will have bad days where, they probably look particularly crappy, but don't tell me if I look awful either. I probably know that I look like I got punched in the face. Don't need to point it out. Otherwise, like I said, you can tell people they look nice. You can just say you're glad they're there, you're happy to see them. If they make a funny joke, be like, that was hilarious. Just don't even talk about their disability if you think that's going to make them uncomfortable, because sometimes it does. And just overall be conscious of what you're saying. That doesn't necessarily mean be afraid to talk to a person about their disability, but as you sort of form a relationship with a person with a disability, you'll probably be told what they are and are not comfortable with, or you'll sort of get the vibe of whether or not they really want to talk about it all the time, or if they're just like, this is the condition I have, this is how it is, and I'll let you know if I need help with anything, otherwise be quiet. So people will tell you how they feel. And yeah, just, again, be careful of what you say, and your friend will appreciate you not saying that they don't look sick or that they don't look disabled, because we look good with the disability. It's not impossible, and just don't suggest that disability has a certain... So just don't suggest that people with a disability can't be attractive, because we can be. And we still have a disability whether we're dressed up or in sweatpants. So just be careful of what you say and be thoughtful, and your friend will really appreciate it. Alright guys, that's it for today. This was just a quick video where I wanted to talk about some things, like I said, about why the comment, "you don't look sick," is actually not the best thing to say. So let me guys know in the comments what you guys would like to see next. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye!